February 6th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, joined here today by Alex Moretto, Matt Russell. We got 8 NHL games ahead of us here tonight, so we'll break those down, answer questions from the chat as well, get into what went on the ice last night for us as well. But before we can get into any of that, I do want to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props so that you can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. So if that's how you prefer to sign up, no judgment there. Head on over to the web, sign up for the BetStamp app. As well, if you are looking to sign up for new sportsbook accounts, you can head over to betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. You can find that link in the description of the show, or just go and type it into your search bar right now on a separate tab. Obviously, don't leave this one, but a separate tab, and you can sign up for new sportsbooks. It does help support us here on the Edgework show. We do appreciate that. But boys, 1-2 last night for the crew. It's a okay way to get back into things. We lost the half unit play there, so it's not as much damage as possible. But I mean, talking about damage done, Matt, you're just returning from the beach, from an all-inclusive. How much damage was done there?
Oh, probably too much, my friend. I'm hashtag no longer built for this. Yeah, it's, you want to believe that you're younger than you are. I think that's the case for all of us in general life. No more than when alcoholic beverages and food are sort of at your disposal at any given moment. Shout out to my girl Rosie over in the spa. She went on a fact-finding mission on my back. That was the highlight of the trip. Really starting, figuring some things out. She took, at one point she said, "Hey, did you get hit with a baseball when you were 8 years old?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Well, I found it." Right. So she's finding all the in the deep recesses of my physical memory. She was getting the elbows in there. My wife and I did the couples massage, and she went with the relaxation. I went with the tension relief. So she's over there getting basically tickled for an hour, and I've got a Mexican woman on straddling me with an elbow like directly so deep into my back that I think she was at one point massaging my heart. And I was like, my aorta is fine. We don't need to worry about a left ventricle situation here, Rosie. So if you could just get off me for 5 seconds, that'd be great. But anyway, missed you guys. We did catch a winner last Tuesday with the Sharks at plus 200. I believe the first ever international plus 200 underdog given out on the Hammer Betting Network. So I think my plaque should be here any day now for that award.
It's in the mail.
Yeah, pumped to be with you guys here, talking hockey. We're talking hockey, correct? Not the Super Bowl. It's the hockey, hockey that we're talking. Fair enough.
Yes, the Super Bowl would be over on the Forward Progress channel if people are looking for that. We got Props Extravaganza kicking off tomorrow at 12 o'clock, 12 to 5 p.m., so you won't want to miss that. Head on over to the Forward Progress channel. But, Matt, that sounds like a relaxing week for the most part there. And I mean, I don't know how relaxing Moretto's All-Star break was, considering that he had to shake hands and kiss babies. He was hanging out with Justin Bieber. He was drafting players at the All-Star draft. Like, it seemed like a pretty busy one for you there, Moretto. How did you enjoy the All-Star festivities?
Yeah, my body kind of shut down on me. Good timing for that with the All-Star break. I pretty much just went through the ringer these last 6 days of the flu, and bouncing back just in time for hockey to come back. So yeah, pretty much the darkest weekend of the year in my opinion, with no hockey, no football, just a tough go of it. Pretty good time to get sick, or bad time to get sick, depending how you think about it. But also, pretty eventful several days. I had no Mexican woman straddling me like Russell did, but
when you put it that way, it sounds a lot different.
But Lisa Ann got arrested. Pretty crazy there. Toby Keith, rest in peace, Toby Keith. Too bad to hear that this morning. And pretty happy to be back. Let's put it that way. Pretty happy that we got the pucks back, and happy for my boy Pierre Engvall for netting that GWG last night, and for my boy Cal Clutterbuck for giving John Tavares the business. Just an all-around great day to be an Islanders fan.
Okay, briefly before we get into the games here, these video tributes are out of control. Pierre Engvall, who played 200 games for the Leafs in over 4 years, is getting video tributes in Toronto. This is, what are we doing? Like, why? Why is this happening? I'm not even just complaining because this is like, oh, it happened in Toronto or whatever. This is league wide. You're playing 200 games for a team. Unless you went there and you won like 2 Stanley Cups for the Chicago Blackhawks in a 3-year span and did that. Like, what are we doing? Why are we honoring the third, fourth line player who was in and out of the lineup in the press box
Who got
and happily traded away?
Too. Keith hated him.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? Why is this the case? These things are too liberal. We got to be handing these out for like important things. It's like when people are having the conversation of jersey retirement. So you're going to retire the guy's jersey. Well, like, he just played here for a while. Like, it's not really like he did like anything spectacular in his time here. We don't need to retire everyone's jerseys.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
Note to self: if I had missed one more show and expected a video tribute on my return, I shouldn't expect that. So I'm going to make a note that just miss one show because 2 isn't going to be enough for a video tribute.
I'm going to cut together like a highlight. Yeah. I'm going to cut together like a highlight montage for you when you return.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming out.
Just Kings.
I don't know.
Just talking about the Kings throughout the entire year last year and having that fail miserably.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's just like everyone. This is Oprah. Like, you get a tribute, you get a tribute, you get a tribute. Like, all right, we're taking it too far here. Not everyone needs a tribute. But anyways, 1-2 on the ice last night. For those wondering, that does bring us to 219, 217, and 5 on the season. That's a 6.6% ROI over 430 bets placed this year. We are up 29 units. Let's continue that here today. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get back on the right track. We come out All-Star break 1-2, but now let's get things corrected here. If people do have a question throughout the show, please send them in the chat there. We'll try to answer those, as well as what So Money says. This is probably the most important thing to do right now. Imagine not smashing the like button when it's right there to smash it. Takes 2 seconds, hit that like button, help support the show. Let's get into it here today, boys, and let's first and foremost start with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins hosting the Winnipeg Jets here tonight, and we're seeing currently the Winnipeg Jets plus 104, Penguins minus 110, and a total of 5.5 right now. Moretto, what are your thoughts on where this total and the line currently sit for this game?
Yeah, I think we not to spoil anything right off the bat here, but I think we might have a double best bet with the with the Igloos here. I know we liked it a little bit more maybe when it was like around minus 108 this morning, but still very much in the playable range. Yeah, this is a Penguins play. This is a Jets team that, I mean, good Jets team, but a team that I'm maybe looking to sell on a little bit. I don't think the market is quite where it needs to be on the Penguins. Pittsburgh, a team where, like, obviously this is a little narrative-y based here, but Pittsburgh, a team that I think is going to benefit a lot from this All-Star break. A bit of an older team that kind of you can see sort of fades a little bit in games. Getting that week off, I think, is going to be big for them too, and just to sort of recharge and refresh here. And yeah, I hate to fade the Jets in Sean Monahan's debut, but unfortunately, it's going to have to happen here because yeah, selling on the Jets here and buying up some Penguins with my disgusting brother.
Well,
yeah, and it doesn't feel that disgusting, thankfully, because you mentioned sort of the narrative element, and I'll second that notion a little bit, in part because the way I look at the NHL season, right, is I kind of look at it in 3 different parts, right? You have the first like November portion, you leading up into the Christmas break, where it's just kind of like feeling out process, like who's good? Wait a minute, the Canucks are really good. Are the Oilers bad? Wait, no, they're not. They just, needed to change the coach apparently, though I'm not sure that guy's doing anything necessarily behind the bench, but that's for a different story, a different day, and then you get to the Christmas break and everybody kind of, has a, it's not like it's some huge break necessarily, but it is a certain port in the calendar where you just kind of go, okay, like what has been going on for the start of the season? And in that portion of time, right, like, Alex, I think you'll agree, like, nobody was really loving the Penguins play all that much in that portion of the season. Then you get into this middle part, right, between the Christmas break and the All-Star break, and it's like kind of dog days type stuff, right? But at least you're sort of looking at the standings and going like, all right, like we should probably make a move here at some point. And the Penguins record from a money line perspective, 7-7 in this sort of second portion of the program here. but they're 7th in the league in expected goal share at even strength, right? So to me, that's a team that's like playing much better than they were in that first section. And so when you get into this third section, after having a significant break with the All-Star game, and you're looking at the standings and you're going, okay, we are not in the playoffs. You know, you look around in the dressing room, and there's certainly enough guys in there who think they should be a playoff team, or like we would think that this team should be in the playoffs. And so they are, should be starting a push here for this third quadrant, which is obviously literally the stretch run here to the playoffs. So I'm expecting a big kind of, segment here from the Penguins here. And obviously they started, kind of got that rolling here a little bit with their better play in the second segment. The results haven't necessarily been there because it's 7-7 on the money line, but 3 of those losses came in overtime. And I believe all 7 of those are regulation victories, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, point is like, a couple of different bounces, right? And they could have been, sort of 10-4 in that 14-game stretch, and putting a little more pressure on Zach's Maple Leafs to even make the playoffs. And I think that's sort of the mission here for the Penguins. Again, a veteran team that can sort of recognize the mission. Whereas Winnipeg, obviously they've had a great start to the season. You can, they're in the first place in the division. I'm sitting here with a 10-1 Jets, division ticket. And I'm like, come on, boys, hang on. And it's a little bit like watching the horse race where it's like, it's not even so much that they're slowing down necessarily, but it's like Alex's Stars and the Colorado Avalanche are just continuing to be strong, right? And so, hopefully one of those teams can sort of fall off, so I can have sort of a one-on-one and be able to get off of this 10-1 ticket, because I don't think the Jets are going to win the division. And I think that probably starts tonight with the Penguins being sort of underrated as a team that, is essentially a pick'em game here. As Alex mentioned, it was, I think as low as -108. That's when I bought it this morning. It's essentially a pick'em against a team in the Jets here who, again, very good team. They themselves 4th in this sort of second segment, but we're talking about kind of 2 top 10 teams here potentially going forward. Obviously the Penguins don't have the results looking back, but going forward, I think these are 2 top 10 teams here. And obviously with the home ice advantage element here, there's probably 3 to 4% of value here on the Penguins, because, as we sit back and as so money out there would do every single day, he would wake up in the morning during the All-Star break, look at the standings and, feel a lot of glee, right? I think, a lot of people, as they were bored over the course of this past week, Alex, while he's, vomiting profusely, he's looking at the standings going like, oh man, the Jets are really good. The Jets are really good. And it's like, honestly, the Jets are good, but honestly, I think the Penguins are pretty good here. So I think the discrepancy between these two teams, especially going forward, is a lot smaller, if it even exists at all. And so, yeah, I'm going to take the Penguins here. Minus 110 is certainly fine. Honestly, up to -120 is probably good enough for me as well.
Well, there you go. Start off coming out of the All-Star break with a bang. There we go. Double best bet on the first game of the day. So Penguins money line -110. Again, if you want to track all these bets, whether it's on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, or you want to look at the progress throughout this season, even dating back to last year, you can find that over in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. So check us out there. You can see all the picks that have been given out and see how we've done. And you can even break things out from whether it's money line, spreads, totals, however you want to do so. But let's head over to the next game here, where we've got the Florida Panthers hosting the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Florida -209, the Flyers +186, and a total of 6. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this morning, but I saw videos of all the Panthers players rolling up to their new practice facility and all their tricked out golf cars and stuff. Moretto, does that have any play any factor into your handicapping of this game tonight?
Maybe if I had seen it. Didn't know that was happening. What are we looking at here with, I think, so we've seen Panthers totals kind of be adjusted a little bit here just based on this number right now, but still getting these 6s, I think anything towards -115, which is very widely available, is good for me on the under. Just again, this is just Panthers team that offensively, not exactly a juggernaut. Good power play, but probably neutralized a little bit here by Philly's, very, very good penalty kill. But defensively, Florida is just as good as any team in the league right now. In fact, they are the best defensive team in the NHL the last 2 months. Those numbers have been even better over the last month. They are just giving teams nothing. And we've seen Philly as a team that is really ticking down offensively. Their numbers season long are higher than what they are, last 2 months, last month. offense is starting to dry up a little bit for Philly here. And against a very good defensive team in Florida, don't expect those to suddenly tick back up. My only kind of concern here is the fact that Urson has been struggling a little bit since kind of taking over full time. Ultimately, I think he'll be fine. But I just don't see Philly generating enough here, and still a good enough defensive team to sort of limit the damage Florida can do. So under 6 towards -115. Anything -115 or better is play for me here.
All right, well, the -115s are pretty widely available. You can see some -12s out there as well, -111s on Pinnacle. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to have different sports books available to you so you can get the best price. But we'll grab the under 6 -111 there. Matt, what are your thoughts on this game tonight? Anything you're trying to get involved in?
No, nothing to necessarily argue, though. Are the Florida Panthers getting fat and happy with these golf carts? Like, something to think about. No, I look at that. It's really more about the Flyers, as far as being interested in anything to do with this game and sort of checking to see where the Flyers are mentally. Obviously, a pretty significant situation there with Carter Hart, leaving the team for who knows how long, and us talking about it a couple of weeks ago with the idea that Urson has this road paved to get into Rookie of the Year contention, right? It's like, here's your golden bricks, man. Like, just follow the road at 30, 40, 50 to 1 here and have a good sort of finish to your season. You're going to get the net most of the time. And it hasn't really been all that great since he's taken over. And Alex, you mentioned, you're like, yeah, he should be fine. But the reality is, as we talk about frequently on the show, with NHL goaltending or goaltending in general, it's like, how do we know, man? Like, how do we know? Like, it just might not be any good, because it's not like this guy's some household name that's been in the league for forever. He's literally a rookie. That's sort of the whole point of the conversation. And it's like, maybe he was just kind of pretty good when he was started the season getting kind of the secondary starts, and then kind of playing well enough in a small sample size to get the credit where people were like, oh yeah, Carter Hart isn't even the best goalie on the team anymore, and it's not that big a deal if he leaves. It's like, well, if all of a sudden the workload goes up, now we're coming out of an all-star break here where the workload is down, he should be fully rested. So I think that's probably a positive for Alex when it comes to the under. So I'm certainly not going to sort of bet against that. But yeah, I mean, a Philadelphia team that, going into the season was expected to be 15 to 20% below league average as a team, way outperformed in this small sample size. But yeah, if the offense starts to kind of dwindle down here, Owen Tippett was banged up towards the end of the like I said, that second segment of the season. It's like, if that dries up, if the offense dries up, would you be that surprised? It's not like it's a team, it's one thing when you sort of do 40 or 50 games here and you kind of outperform your expectation. But as the sample size piles up, right, I imagine they're probably going to get closer and closer to that original projection at the start of the season. It doesn't mean they couldn't still make the playoffs. It doesn't mean they can't, they don't have a good future. It just sort of means a lot of times our preseason projections are pretty close to correct. And it usually takes 80 games for that to kind of come to fruition. And I think the Flyers, unfortunately for them, are kind of this team, again, especially with some of the off-ice stuff and where all the pieces are now having to fit. They're just one of these teams that's like, yeah, would you be that surprised if they kind of finish the season here on a 10-20 type, 30 game run here to close it out? It's I kind of wouldn't be. So, got to watch out, because the Panthers are riding around in golf carts, man, as if it isn't easy enough to kind of keep it breezy in Florida, in South Florida. I don't like it. I don't like things are getting pretty comfortable. They didn't even win the Stanley Cup. They just made the Stanley Cup. Guys, we got to have that edge. You got to have that chip on your shoulder. Let's maybe walk to practice, golf cart. That feels
well, Paul Murray said he walked. So
listen, he's the guy I want taking the golf cart. Why is he walking? Right? I need Kachuk on his feet.
Oh, you gotta lead by example, no?
I guess. I don't know. To me, if I'm the coach, I should be the one riding around on the cart yelling at people, and then all the other guys are the ones who are striving to be cart people. I strive to be a golf cart person. I'd love to retire and just drive around in a golf cart all the time. Right.
And it's those big, the three row ones and stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
Luxury.
Yeah. But right now, at this point in my life, it's stay ready. Right. It's hashtag stay. I might not be built for this, but I'm definitely staying ready.
Staying ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think the Panthers may not be ready, and that's concerning as somebody who's got a ticket on them to come back here and win the division. So, yeah, a little bit concerned. Might have to go down to South Florida and really sort of tighten things up because Paul Maurice has those guys kind of running amok right now. And I know Alex, depending on what week it is, whether he thinks Maurice is a good coach, might have an issue with that too.
All right, well, the under 6 -111, we'll lock that in. Continuing to move on, we got a couple more games here to look at that we have best bets in ourselves. So next up, we will go to the Washington Capitals game where they're hosting the Montreal Canadiens here. Washington -150, the Habs +136 right now, seeing a total of 6 mostly available. You see a lot of 5.5s out there as well at this time. Matt, what are your thoughts on what we're seeing with this low total between these teams and where this money line is currently sitting?
Zach, got to be honest with you, wasn't paying attention to the start of that. What game are we talking about?
I love the honesty.
I appreciate it as well.
I love that he finished just like
Montreal.
these two teams. He's like, these two teams. I was like, God, Zach, I was really hoping once he said Matt in the middle of that sentence, I was like, I was really hoping you're going to say which two teams at the end there.
Sorry.
But yeah, I could sit here and pretend like I was listening right off the start there. Okay, Montreal and Washington. Here's my take on this. And Alex can sort of help me out on sort of, what the import level is from an implied win probability on against a sort of average team that Gallagher and Monahan no longer being in the lineup potentially have, right? And so I sort of had those guys kind of, my starting point is like a 3% dip in their general win probability. But now we've got Kuznetsov being out for Washington. And so we've got kind of two sort of things here balancing or unbalancing each other here, right? And so if I kind of consider it a wash, this, is around a fair price. But if Kuznetsov means that much more to Washington than, the Gallagher-Monahan combo does in sort of one of their, if not their first game without both of those guys playing, then, Montreal sort of becomes a little bit more interesting here. But Washington in general, until this, sort of news came out, has been a team towards, the lead up to the All-Star break and a little bit going forward is a team that I was actually interested in betting, right? They were a buy team for me. So obviously the news of Kuznetsov is a little concerning. So it's probably a stay away in general, but I think kind of an interesting thing when it comes to those sort of pieces being in and out of the lineup.
Well, Moretto, where are you at in terms of the valuation of those guys, what they mean to the line, going out of the lineup, and where the total is currently sitting?
Well, I'll tell you right now, you take away 3 offensive players from the lineup, and you're looking at an under here. Never mind just those 3 guys. These teams kind of suck offensively to begin with. Don't really care about, what winning percentage they offer. I care about the fact that Montreal and Washington are 2 of the worst offensive teams in the NHL. They have been all season. Now you're looking at a Habs team that is just decimated. Like, obviously no Doc, but they haven't really had Doc all season. Newhook is not ready to come back yet. Gallagher's suspended. Monahan's been traded. The impact of Monahan will very much be felt on the power play as well. Less so 5-on-5, but also when you consider who's replacing him, it will be felt 5-on-5, even though he's not the best 5-on-5 player, because they at least had 2 lines when they were able to move Slafkovsky down to play with Monahan. At least 2 lines that have a little bit of a threat. Now you're going to move Slafkovsky back up because you don't want him playing with nobody. You're going to have the him, Caulfield, Suzuki line. And then second line is going to be, it's looking like without Newhook back, Jake Evans, Jesse Ilonen, and Tanner Pearson. I'm here to tell you that is not an NHL second line. I don't see how we're going to get goals in this game. This is just like 2 good goalies, 2 miserable offenses. This shouts like 2-1, 1-0. Getting the 6 at -119 at Penny is great. 5.5 plus money is good too, but I would much rather unless you're getting significant plus money, that's 6 -119 at Penny is good. Don't imagine that'll be there too long. It looks like they overtook a little bit of money, which jokes on whoever did that. This is gonna be a miserable, boring game. Jesus, I'm gonna watch a game where like Brandon Gignac and Lucas Condotta are playing on like a third line. This is an AHL team right now. Outside of like 7 players, this is an AHL team. Miserable. definitely could not bet on the Habs in this situation. Would need a better price. I don't care who they're playing. I wouldn't. They could be playing the Blackhawks right now, and I don't know if I would take this. So this is the tank is very much on in Montreal. We are on our way to hopefully a top 3 pick. Get us there, please get us there, and let's get a Jets first round playoff loss so we can get another higher pick. And this is a pretty miserable time to have to watch Habs games for the last few months of the season. I don't know why I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
I just can't wait for us to get back into the tankathon here. We'll be running that daily, weekly, trying to get that going for you. It's going to be between you and Alex B. It's gonna be an exciting one. I might even have to throw my name in the hat at that point and see what the Leafs are up to. Potentially, we'll be trying to get down there later on in the season. Who knows?
We had two centers on the roster once we traded Monahan with like the guys that are injured and stuff. It was Jake Evans and Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki is basically going to play like 40 minutes a night, and they're just going to destroy him. They had to sign Gignac from the AHL because he was only on an AHL contract. They needed to give him a pro contract over the All-Star break. So congrats to him getting that NHL contract. Unfortunate for me that I have to sit here and watch this team.
I think I speak for everyone in the chat when I listen to Alex say all those people, and I go, who?
Yeah, this is Matt. This is like when you're playing like be a GM when you're a kid and you get too far down the road where now it's all those autofill players that are coming in.
Yeah,
yeah. This is that.
There's a lot of names of people that I don't understand and I don't think those are real people. But maybe you guys are playing a joke on me. I don't know. That would be really funny. I would really enjoy it if I came on one day and you guys just started saying names of players like with a straight face, and I just like kind of went along with it and was just nodding.
Yes.
Like, yeah, man. That guy, good for him, signing the deal. Very cool.
Yeah. All right, well, they are real people that will be playing tonight, so you can turn it on and watch that. But there you go, another bet locked in. The under 6, well, they'll be on the ice. The under 6, minus 119, we lock in there. Yet again, you can find those over in the BetSamp app.
Zach, I see it in the chat too that the 6 is gone. That 6 was appeared for a very short period of time. I saw it on screen here too, and I did hit it again too. But there's 5.5 plus money widely available, and that is more than fine. We're good with that.
All right, I did lock in the 6 on the account.
Timing is everything. Timing is everything.
So if it's there, it's there. That was a verified play that got locked in here for us now. But Moretto saying the plus money, good for those of you out there looking. And our friend, the right wing fan, is asking, is the under 6 minus 125 playable? Would you go to that number there, Moretto?
Yeah, I would. I would play that. That's fine. I would, unless you're getting like plus 105ish, maybe I would maybe do the 5.5. But if you're looking at like a flat plus 100, then yeah, give me the under 6 minus 125.
All right, and also for reference, JH says, "Quick fingers, Zach." Guys, I had to get used to this now because whether it's the people in the chat or it's the people that we have coming on the show who are moving it themselves or moving it by giving these things out. Days move fast, so when they come up on the screen and one of you guys, any of our analysts, Monday through Friday, says the play that they're giving out, I'm clicking it, pulling it off the screen, locking it in, and pulling the screen back up. Like, these things are going in so that we have
it was there. I saw
you guys moved them.
I bet it as I was talking a little bit too. Also, we just got confirmation that Charlie Lindgren is starting for Washington, which is good news. And it's a little Charlie Lindgren revenge game. Only the real ones will know that he did play for the Habs for a while. I don't know, man. Maybe you want to look at a little Charlie Lindgren shutout for a 0.1 unit or 0.5 unit type of thing. If you're into that sort of thing, we're not going to track him here necessarily, but I wouldn't hate a Charlie Lindgren shutout bet tonight. Let's put it that way.
Podcast only right there. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut this out of the YouTube. All right. Well, let's continue to move on here. But before we do, I want to remind people, if you're watching right now and you haven't already, hit that like button. We do appreciate all the support, but hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, try to push this thing to 5,000 subscribers. I kept saying 2,500. That's too low. Let's aim for 5,000. Let's hit 5,000 subscribers. We appreciate all the support. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Let's get it up here.
It's a stretch run, Zach. It's a stretch run, you know?
Exactly. We got to push hard. Let's
Yeah,
push hard.
I get it.
We might be
I
making
wasn't even
deadline
watching
deals
the
here.
show in the first segment of the season. All right, and I'm on it. But now it's
Yes.
go time. All right.
Moretto and I are taking calls like Alber might be on the way out. You might be having to look for replacements. Pizzola, could he be available?
wire.
Forward progress, football season coming to an end. You never know. I don't know. Just stay tuned to the channel. That's all I could say. But continue to move on here. We got more games to cover, and one of those would include the Buffalo Sabres hosting the Dallas Stars tonight. Buffalo plus 137, Dallas minus 150, and a total of 6.5. Matt, what do you make of these Stars and the Sabres game tonight?
It's well, you know what? I guess let's just play the clip. Let's just do it.
All right.
The Disgusting Brothers.
Don't call us that.
Closest we could get to a Disgusting Brothers play. I know it's a what, plus 135 type deal here. Not exactly like the most hideous thing we've ever done in our lives. But we talked about like the Penguins being, sneaky good in the second trimester of the season, the second segment of the season. I really need to come up with a better term for that.
Yeah.
Comparing
it to pregnancy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Listen, to somebody who's never been that close to had to deal, thankfully, with a pregnancy, I will adopt that term and use it in sports quite freely. Sabres playing a little bit better than kind of everybody really thinks, right? This is a team that's 12th in that segment in expected goal share. I know that's not exactly like lighting the world on fire, and certainly the Stars have better numbers when it comes to that because, as Alex knows, as one of his 27 favorite teams, that the Stars, are in theory not to be trifled with. And honestly, this is probably a bad idea. But frankly, it just comes out, my numbers say, like we're talking about, plus 125 or better, essentially, then the Sabres need to be a play. And here we are. And so you sort of want to look back and go, okay, like why am I being subject to this? That's the answer, is that the sort of rolling averages, if you will, on the Sabres play lately have sort of brought them to a point where, as a home underdog of kind of plus more than plus 120, they become a sort of a bet here at a 2 to 3% type edge. And honestly, most of that is just because, like, who wants to bet on the Buffalo Sabres? Not that many people. Who wants to bet against the Dallas Stars? Probably nobody else here, and that's honestly a lot of the times where you kind of find at this point in the season, a 2% edge. The Sabres have gotten incredibly unlucky when it comes to converting their high danger chances. I think something along the lines, I had this written down, but it was like 7% or something during that same segment. So again, you're driving play, you're getting, you're getting sort of better than 50%, obviously, of the play driving according to like expected goals for at even strength, but you're not converting. And maybe the Sabres are just never going to convert. Maybe they're just be bad, and maybe it just doesn't happen tonight. We don't see that sort of turn tonight. That's certainly a reasonable possibility. But when we're talking about playing, 1 to 2% edges over a long period of time, again, something at plus 135 here on the Sabres at home is a play that unfortunately needs to be made. And, unlike some of these plus 200 Disgusting Brothers type deals, right? And, Zach, you and I talked about this before. This is sort of our age-old thing, right? It's like the Sabres win this game, you're going to be like, cool, man. Like Sabres upset against the Stars. It's like, probably feels like we should have gotten more for this, right? More than plus 135. And like, honestly, sometimes that's how it's a good bet, where it feels like you should be getting more for it. When we're only, quote unquote, getting plus 135. But, the numbers say what the numbers say. And they say we're going to get a little disgusting here in Buffalo.
Well, we're going to grab the Sabres here tonight against the Stars. Moretto's Stars. What do you make of this pick? Are you opposed to Matt here?
Little treason from Matt. Kind of disgusting in and of itself, just for that alone. No, I think, I think everything you said makes a lot of sense. I have no real strong opinion of this game. Maybe the Sabres, use the All-Star break to kind of get their shit together a little bit. It has been like something of a tire fire over there. Dallas is a team where I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where like I was very much wanting to buy on this team over the the rest of the season, getting everyone kind of healthy, Heiskanen back, Ottinger healthy and back, just sort of getting all the pieces back into place. It feels like they're sort of primed to make a big run at this division title down the stretch. That being said, the fact that I'm not on this stars here. Maybe says something too. I think decent spot to potentially look elsewhere and grab a Sabres bet, but I have no play side or total here.
All right, well, let's keep moving on. We got a couple more games to get to. The New Jersey Devils hosting the Colorado Avalanche tonight. New Jersey plus 101, the Avs minus 105 there, and a total of 6.5 right now. Moretto, what are your thoughts on this game, side or total?
Yeah, this is like I can't get the love for the Devils right now. This is still a decimated team. It's not like we're coming back from the break and they're getting all these reinforcements back. They're getting no reinforcements back. Like maybe Thomas Nosek is coming back. Oh, like I don't know what sort of win probability you want to assign to him.
Yeah, I've got him down as a 0. So
yeah, I think that's a fair number. So I mean, this is just they've been completely ravaged, and they still are. I don't think this break has necessarily solved anything there. They're not playing fantastic hockey, but necessarily by any means. I know that this is a back-to-back for the Avalanche with travel technically, but like Jesus, it's down the road from
right.
to Newark here, and I mean. They also just are coming off like a week and a bit off where maybe the back-to-back doesn't really mean as much when you're not playing, every other night here. They haven't played in over a week, before yesterday. So I think the back-to-back sort of mitigates that a little bit. I know we're probably going to get a Noonan in that.
I was going to say, who is this gentleman? Like I saw this guy's name and I was like, I'm unfamiliar with his.
He's young. He's 23. He's Finnish. He's been playing in the AHL. He played a couple of games last year. He doesn't inspire confidence necessarily. That's for sure. But neither does anyone that the Devils can trot out there. And it's going to be Vanacek, who is been, pretty piss poor himself this season. So I think we're getting a significant discount on the Avs because of the fact that this is a back-to-back and they just went to overtime last night with the Rangers. I will scoop up that discount and I will take the Avs here. Let's say like minus 115 is widely available. So we'd probably go up to around there. There was they were just bet down a little bit, but it looks like they were just bet right back up at penny. So minus 112 is good for me. I can't get behind this Devils team right now. I just can't do it. And especially not against a team like the Avs. So give me the Avs here at what I think is a bit too much of a discount.
Yeah, and there can sometimes be this thing, right, where when teams play on a back-to-back. So, in general, you kind of, for those who don't sort of pay attention to this sort of thing, in general, on a back-to-back, a team is sort of docked kind of 5% implied win probability, right? And so the thing is, like, with that, because that's sort of standard, like, a lot of that kind of has to do with the idea that you're probably going to get the backup goalie in the second game of the back-to-back, right? It isn't necessarily the team's exhausted or this, that, or whatever, travel, etc. It's like, we kind of already, think that, and, in some cases, the backup goalie goes first in a back-to-back, but, certainly not coming after an all-star break situation and playing in New York. So it's like, to me, what this line sort of indicates is like, one, as Alex mentioned, that the Devils are somehow getting guys back that, matter, and they aren't. But two, it's like the Avalanche are kind of getting subtracted for playing on a back-to-back while also getting subtracted for playing a quote-unquote backup goaltender, right? And so the reason I sort of ask about the goaltender is like, if this guy was some nightmare train wreck that desperate times type situation, then that needed to be sort of multiplied on top of just the back-to-back element, if you know what I mean. Like, or is this just like a guy who, like most goaltenders in that sort of like middle part of of hockey, where it's like, there isn't 64 good goaltenders and then a massive drop off, right? That's just not how anything works, right? There's probably 250 good goaltenders, and there's probably 5 awesome goaltenders, and then there's maybe a drop off to the next like 250 guys. And it just so happens that certain guys, are drafted by certain teams and get opportunity. And when they get that opportunity, they seize that opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. So like the reason I asked about the goaltender here, I've already forgotten his name, is because it's like, he might just be one of these other guys who, like, when he gets an opportunity, like he's going to be the most locked in guy on the ice. Right. And that's what we talk about a lot of the time, where I don't really care that much, with very few exceptions, about who the goaltender is. And I think that might apply to Colorado, where it's like, the team is good enough that you can take their number one goaltender out, who, like, honestly, 2 years from now might not be in the league. And we might be all looking back and being like, he actually wasn't even that good. And having this guy who you mentioned he's 23 years old. Like, he might be the starting goaltender in 2 years, 2 years from now. As far, what I mean? As far as we know, like, he might be a Vezina candidate for 2 years from now. Like, that's just how it works when it comes to goaltending, right? So if the Avalanche are getting docked because they're playing on a back-to-back, again, like Alex said, like just a quick drive over to Buffalo, and they're getting docked because the goaltender is going to be some massive dip, like, I can't get with that necessarily either, right? So, yeah, like, this to me, like, you start playing around with the numbers here, and it's like kind of feels like a really, really good deal on the Avalanche here. And so I think I might be with Alex in that, and having a second game where both of us are on the same side. What could possibly go wrong?
Not tonight.
Well, I mean,
Not tonight.
we're going positive vibes only to finish out this season here, Matt. That's what we're adopting. These double best bets, we're feeling good about them. Double the confidence from the show. The people in the chat should feel double the confidence there as well. But we're gonna grab the Avs minus 112. Now, with that being said, there are a couple of people asking about the total in this game. Charles asking about the total. Carrie asking about the over here with Matt's favorite new goaltender, a Noonan in net for the Avalanche. We see this total currently sitting at 6.5, minus 115 to the over, a little bit closer to minus 120, widely available. You see some plus monies on the under 6.5 there as well. Moretto, you are Mr. Totals. What are your thoughts on where this one is?
Honestly, I'd lean under here a little bit. I bet the under last night in the Avs Rangers game. The Avs are a very low event team. They don't generate like a ton of offense. They're not necessarily a high volume offense. They are a good conversion offense because of the fact that they obviously have some star players. But defensively, they're pretty sound. They don't give up a ton. I think Noonan will be fairly sheltered here. And I don't trust the Devils offensively and what they're producing. So, to have a 6, I think the total definitely should be 6.5, just given who the goalies are in this game. But given the way the Avs actually profile and the way the Devils are sort of built right now up front with, guys like Hughes out, I would lean under with the total this heavily juiced towards the over. But it's just not something I care to bet. Given who's in net here, I'd much rather just stick to the side and be happy with the Avs.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, right, in that, I've been sort of talking about the second segment of the season. Alex mentioning, like, it's not like the Devils have been lighting it up. Sub 50% in expected goal share and high danger chance share at even strength, right? So, like, way down the list. We're talking worse than the Sabres here.
And those numbers come down significantly when Jack Hughes is not in the lineup, which he is not still. So
yeah, and that's it, right? That second segment of the season, has been largely without Hughes and Hamilton and gosh, who was the other guy who was out for a little while? There's a third piece that actually does matter.
Heischer was out for a bit. I think Heischer missed some time.
Yeah. Meyer, was he out? Anyway, neither here nor there. Point is,
Meyer's just been bad.
He may have just been.
Meyer's just.
He might be out there. He might be out in name only. He might be. He might be literally. And
McLeod was having a really good season too, and obviously without him for obvious reasons, and we don't need to go into that. But that is I don't know. Feels weird saying a loss, but that is like that. That's a blow to their team for sure. Not having McLeod in the lineup.
It piles up. Yep, it piles up.
Yeah. All right, well, final game that we've got here, a bet in for tonight. We're going to take a look at the Vegas Golden Knights Edmonton Oilers game. Vegas plus 134 hosting the Oilers. Edmonton minus 142, a total of 6. Moretto, what are we thinking when it comes to this game here tonight? Are the Oilers going to be able to roll into Vegas, keep their streak alive? Is there going to be too much noise with the Super Bowl going on down there surrounding this team in Vegas? What's the situation and what are you looking at here?
I mean, Connor McDavid's dialed in, no? He's put in the all-star performance of all all-star performances. This guy is like
$1 million richer, though. Might be a golf cart. Might be a golf cart situation. Extra $1 million.
It's going to be a golf cart situation.
Fat and happy.
I don't know about that out there in Edmonton.
Yeah. Maybe they got an oil rig for him or something. Yeah, he's taking to and from the rink. I think the price is about right here on the side. Total wise, I do lean towards the under, but I think they've kind of caught on to our Oilers unders here, where we're seeing the total down from 6.5. We've been seeing steady 6.5s, even some 7s for Oilers games, and obviously the matchup dependent here with the fact that they're playing Vegas. which, is a bit more conducive to an under. I think that's why we're getting the total down where it is, but it's somewhat priced accordingly. I want to see for sure if William Karlsson is back for Vegas, because it sounds like he's probably going to be back tonight. And if so, I'm not going to have anything side or total in this game. Just going to sit back and hope for our Oilers to keep winning, and hope for our Pacific Division futures at the expense of somebody's happiness, unfortunately.
I don't care for it either.
All right, well, Matt, what are your thoughts on this game here?
I just don't care for this Oilers Pacific Division future nonsense, frankly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been trying to figure out, like, what are the Golden Knights without Eichel and Shea Theodore for, again, the entire basic, second segment of the season. I don't really know, right? It's like I dare the other guys to beat me, and then they literally, Stone gets a hat trick, and I go, okay, cool, man. Like, you win this round, sir. And so I don't, as I'm trying to kind of decipher, like, how I'm supposed to rate the Golden Knights, honestly, I've given up. I don't acknowledge that they play hockey until the playoffs, when I'm absolutely forced to. The Golden Knights basically are dead to me in positive or negative fashion. It's just I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved with Golden Knights activity. So
all right.
pass. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Simple as that. Now, Matt, I'll do this for you because you didn't get to be here last week. I know you were upset about missing the segment. We debuted the Phil of the Future. I got one for you guys. I came back from the All-Star break. There was some time for me to do some time traveling. So I went ahead. I looked past the end of the trade deadline. I looked into the playoffs, and I looked at the playoff picture, and I found out something. And I want to get your thoughts on it. I want to know if you think that this is factual or if I'm a liar. I went ahead, and I found out the Toronto Maple Leafs missed the playoffs. Matt, is this factual, or am I a liar?
I got to tell you, I looked at this, I didn't do the so money thing where I looked at the standings every day. I looked at the standings today after the Leafs lost last night in regulation, as you know, you might have heard. And I was disappointed. I was disappointed with the selection of teams sort of chasing and their general sort of like how far back they have to come. Like, because I think it's like there's like a 4 or 5 point gap. I would pay a certain amount of money to see the Leafs miss the playoffs just for the content on this show. But at the same time,
I would chip in with you. I'd go halvesies with you. I'd put 3/4 of it in.
Yeah. But then I was like, you know what though? Like, as we've talked about, I think last time I was on, shockingly, we talked about the Leafs last time I was on. I really enjoy the point in the playoffs when the Leafs exit too, right? And so like a low level whimper for them to miss the playoffs would be really disappointing from like our content from like a late April, early May standpoint. So do I really want to see them to miss the playoffs? Maybe I don't when I really think about it. Will they or won't they? Like, obviously, what do we have, by the way, on them to make or miss the playoffs? Does anybody have that handy? Maybe somebody in the chat is ready to rock and roll with that, or maybe it's not even available at this point. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think the issue is
minus 800 to make the playoffs, plus 500 for them to miss the playoffs. I mean, if I just talked about the Pittsburgh Penguins sort of doing a little veteran run here in the back end of the season, because I think that's kind of the only team here. I don't know what you guys think as far as like, is there another team that can kind of weasel their way in there and catch the Maple Leafs? And also you need the Red Wings to stabilize and not kind of fall off.
Yeah, the thing is you need, because the Flyers, you assume the Flyers are going to drop off, so you would need like the Islanders, the Penguins, and the Red Wings probably. And then you need the Lightning to stay in that perch, which I think they will. I'm comfortable that can happen. Do I think the Red Wings can climb up there? I don't. I think the Penguins and Islanders are both very much capable. I don't trust the Wings whatsoever. Sorry to right wing fan in the chat. I just don't quite see it. If there was like, if Buffalo had shown a pulse maybe earlier, would have been nice. They could have been in this mix right now. That's a team that, but like, honestly, and the Devils just don't seem like they're going to get reinforcements back soon enough. Maybe if the Devils can go on a tear, that's, I think, the chance. I think the chance we have is the Devils going on a tear. My dream scenario is the Leafs trading their first round pick for basically a pending UFA who does not re-sign. Leafs missed the playoffs, and they don't even get to use that like top 18 or whatever it is pick. Just
Right.
that's the dream. That's the dream. I don't ask for a lot in life. I would like that.
I mean, I kind of think like wild card is embarrassing enough. You know what I mean? And it's like the perfect kind of embarrassing where it's like, man, all of this and you guys just made the wild card. And then we get to ask Zach, like basically every show from now until the playoffs, like which first place team would you rather face? Right? Like that's kind of a fun game. Like I don't know what kind of cool name we'll have for it, but in between Zach's photoshopping, he'll be able to come up with something fun. Like which first place team would the Leafs like to face and have their fan base complain about needing to change the system because somehow the system is the thing that is on trial. Even though even if they'll be a wild card team, which again is just embarrassing enough to be wildly disappointing for the fan base. And like, honestly, isn't that just what this is all about, right?
Yeah,
just finding just that sweet spot and an embarrassment and pain for everybody involved, right? It's the same thing with the Canucks. Like, don't get me wrong here. It's the same thing with the Canucks. Like, we're going to do like a whole like finish first, like maybe overall in the league. And then like, guess what? You get the Los Angeles Kings. Like probably all games scheduled on Tuesdays. Like somehow that's going to go 7 weeks because they can't play on days other than Tuesdays against the Kings. Like, how is that going to go for me? Right. So, I mean, listen, it goes both ways. I completely understand that. And, we're here to sort of face the music and pay the piper here. So I thought you were going to ask me about who's got the coolest toe drag, but you're asking me about the Leafs making the playoffs. So that's my honest answer.
Well, I mean,
such as it was.
That's fine. You know what? We're all in the same boat here. I was a liar. And I'll tell you what, I was a liar because I went ahead and I found out they not only made the playoffs, they won the Stanley Cup. This is the year.
Whoa.
I almost removed you from the stream there.
You're going to turn it around, boys. We're going all positive down the stretch. I was negative Nancy coming in throughout this point of the year. I say, fuck it. Throw caution to the wind. We're winning the cup. Why not us? Why not our year? This is the one.
No golf carts. Staying ready.
I've heard that for the last 20 years.
Anyways, let's recap the picks that we have here for tonight. If you do want to see those, you can head over to the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. See all the picks we give out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. See what we've done throughout the course of the season, but obviously the easiest way to do so and find out why and how and when we're making these picks is to just watch the show. You might as well just do that instead over here on the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. Over on podcast platforms, that's fine too if you do consume it that way, but if you're on there, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review over there. Here's our picks for tonight. We do have a bunch of them, so we'll run through, but every single one of these is a full unit play, so I will not clarify on each individual one. They are all full unit. Let's start first and foremost with the Buffalo Sabres, the Disgusting Brothers play in the night. Buffalo Sabres plus 137 money line against the Dallas Stars there. Then we move on to the Florida-Philadelphia game. We're taking the under 6 minus 111, as well as the Penguins money line minus 110 against the Jets. The Habs Capitals game under 6 minus 119. And finally, the Colorado Avalanche money line minus 112 tonight against the New Jersey Devils. Those are our picks for tonight's games. We do appreciate everyone who's tuned in here. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the stream right now. If you're on podcast platforms, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. We do appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in here today. Matt, Alex, thank you guys for taking the time to do this. Matt, good to see you. Glad you're back from vacation. Moretto, happy to see you made it out of All-Star festivities alive this weekend. I know that you were really busy front and center, having to represent Toronto there as the captain from the hometown team. So we do appreciate that. For you showing up here today, for everyone else, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. We appreciate the support. Look forward to seeing you then. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets.